As always, the timestamp will be in the description below. Hello, good morning, buenos dias, and welcome back to another episode of Mass Effect 2. Yes, as is frequently the case, I have not uploaded or made anything on this channel in quite some time, but I'm finally ready here to receive a message from Counselor Anderson, I guess. I don't know. I'm finally ready. From what I recall, I think the last thing that I played of this was... Wait, fuck. I don't even, know where we are. From what I remember, there was a quest to go get Morden, and we did Garrus before, to some extent. But yeah, been a long time. Been basically a whole year since I've played any of this. I guess last 6 months. It feels like several years because shit has really been going on. I don't remember who we took last time, but I would imagine that Garrus was not a part of that group. So we'll take Garrus and Miranda. And then as far as the loadouts go, I don't know what like the super pro loadouts in this game are. And really, this game didn't have multiplayer, so I don't think it really matters. Like what you really take as long as you can win. I am aware that there are some, not in this game, but there's like some missions in the sequel to this that are unbelievably hard depending on what loadouts you take, because there's a character that's...
Warnings about the slums where Dr. Morden Solus runs the clinic. Anticipate resistance at the transport station.
Okay, thank God for this feature.
Reports on Archangel. Mercenary groups appear to believe that he is dead.
Yeah, cool. Do they give me like a waypoint as to where he's supposed to be? I can't really tell. Fuck this character, Zaid. He's a dickhead.
Works for me.
I think the slums are this way. I'm literally going off memory. This was one of my favorite games, like, ever when this came out. It's just like Knights of the Republic 1. It was one of, like, the first games I think that I ever, like, binge played, like... Blah 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 and a coos. I think this guy might just start talking. This is definitely a side quest. I play this game. I play this game so infrequently, and like that I'm really worried that if I actually came in and played like all these side quests, that God, what is the Shadows doing here? This shouldn't be happening, man. This is a remake. If I play all the side quests, I'm not going to finish this game until I'm like 46, man. But fuck it, this one's right here. Real productive lead up there. Thank you. Oh my god. Is this the slums? Where's the slums?
I told you to get lost, lady. The plague has the whole zone quarantined.
This is probably it.
Nobody gets in.
I'm human, you ass. Humans can't get the plague. Now let me get my stuff out before looters get it.
This thing affects every other race out there. We're not taking chances. Nobody gets in till the plague has run its course.
I didn't think Omega had any kind of law enforcement. Who gave the order to quarantine the slums?
Fresh off the transport, huh? Arya Tilok calls the shots around here. She's got her little blue hands on every business in this district. And a plague is bad.
I mean, we already talked to her, so...
She hired us to keep anyone from entering or leaving the quarantine zone.
There's a Solarian named Morden Solus in the slums. I've got to get in there to find him.
The doctor? Yeah, crazy bastard opened a clinic in the district a few months ago. The Blue Suns weren't too happy when he moved in. I hear Morden's trying to deal with the plague. I wish him luck. The area is still locked down. Our orders are to wait until either the plague or the Blue Suns kill everyone. Then go in and clean up.
Listen, you're stuck here until this quarantine is over. That could take weeks. What you really need is to get this problem solved right now. That's what I do. Solve problems. Let me in and I'll get this district straightened out.
You think you can fix this? Why not? Quarantine is more to keep infected people in anyway. I'll radio ahead, tell them you're coming in.
Wait, you're stopping me, but not them? You son of a bitch.
You don't have a grenade launcher, lady.
I was literally just about to say. He's like, I fix problems.
A quarantine zone for a plague that kills Turians. Why don't we ever go anywhere nice?
It's safer to stick with a squad who's immune to the plague.
It's your call, Shepard. If you need me, I'm not going to let a cough keep me back.
I don't think he can die, like, from the Turian plague or whatever in this, so I don't really care. It's fine. I don't really care either. What are these? I guess they'll switch. I don't remember. Yeah, would you ever, like, let somebody into your crib if they, like, are carrying several assault weapons and they're like, I solve problems? What kind of video game ass shit is this? I really wish they'd make... I really hope that the next one of these games is actually... Get the fuck out of here. I wish that the next one of these games was a little bit less hokey, you know? I feel like it's not a huge ask, especially with games like God of War and... Oh. Cool. Like games with like God of War and Last of Us, where like there's not really a ton of hokey dialogue, you know? Like gamey... CW Hallmark movie dialogue where people just like pause for super long amounts of time and then say really dumb shit, but
Blue Suns and Vorcha shooting anything that moves.
I think it wouldn't be too hard to do that for Mass Effect. Or maybe they just need different writers. The difficulty is set so high that I didn't even know that these guys are enemies.
The smell of burning body. That's probably a bad sign.
Human. Should have guessed. Bad enough you infect us with this plague. Now you lack the decency to even wait until I die before you come to steal my possessions.
Is there anything I can do for you?
Get away from me, human. Your kind has done too much already. Your plague did this to me. Your faint pity is the final insult.
I need to find Morton Solus.
Humans.
I wish I could change the subject as easily as Shepard does.
I hope you. I hope. Damn it. Damn
I
you.
kind of did.
Can't.
Hey, stay with me. This won't cure the plague, but it might help a bit.
Oh, you help me. Why?
It's what I do. I don't know if I can find a cure for this plague, but I'm gonna try.
Your words sound sincere. Maybe it's the fever. But as you said, what have I to lose? What do you wish to know?
When I find Morton, I'll tell him about you. If he has a cure, I'll make sure someone gets it to you.
Thank you. My time is running short, but at least you have given me a flicker of hope to brighten the darkness of my final hours. I want to die. Whatever Morton is, I will risk it if he can reach me.
I should go.
Goodbye, human.
I was just thinking about how
Is it hot in
you
here,
can...
or is it just... Oh, that's not good.
Oh, dude. I don't know if he actually can or can't die from this. I hope I don't have to replay this because Garrus just starts keeling over, but I was just thinking, I really have recently had to change the subject on somebody, so I got on a bit of a rant to Ralston and Michaela yesterday because I went to, I think I've said this before, but like I almost always work exclusively out of coffee shops. And I'll go to multiple places in a day just to hang out and kind of stay on track. And I was at Create, which is this place in Orlando, and I've been there many, many times, never had an issue, staff's great, everybody's cool. And I sat down at this big table that I usually work at, and there was this group of like two dudes and one girl, and man, I was texting Ralston, I'm like, I'm pretty certain why Bozo has come back into the common vernacular because... Oh my god, what the hell?
Humans, don't let them spread the plague.
Humans don't spread the plague?
I'm going in!
Dude, like where... Oh. How did they spot them?
Shields down.
Can you just peek, please? What is the hotkey for, like, the abilities? I don't remember. But, what is it? Listen to this damage. I'm sorry, listeners. Just, you know me, I can't multitask. I went into the place in Create, and I go in. These people, this guy and these two guys and this girl, they're just behaving like kids at the kid table. You know, like when you go on summer break when you're like 6. Like I would always go to this place down in Fort Myers, which doesn't exist anymore, by the way, because of the hurricane. And honestly, as sad as it is that people lost their livelihoods, all of those hotels fucking sucked. So it's high time that they got blown up, because otherwise they never would have been replaced with anything. But where are they shooting at? Oh, there's like a gang war. They were all destroyed in the hurricane. Oh, these guys are annoying.
There we go, there we go.
And these guys were just like behaving like when you're in elementary school and you're mixing the ketchup in the in the mayonnaise, like at the kids table in the little containers, just like being like a bozo, you know, like. And these are like people that are 29, 30. They're just like banging on the table. They're just like goofing around like, man, I got so drunk the other night and like, you know, my friend, he like got so drunk and he called the Uber and passed out in the lobby of the hotel and then he got thrown out. And I'm like, how, you're 28, 29? Like, I don't know. It's just like really unattractive and also super uninteresting to be like that. Like maybe when you're 18, but 28, what were you doing? You know? How can that be something that's like acceptable to you? And then what's even worse is like, so to the point of like being short with people and changing the subject, these motherfuckers were just banging on the table and just playing all their TikToks at full volume out loud, and I'm trying to work, other people there are trying to work, and they're just being annoying, and I keep like kind of rolling my eyes, but I'm like, you know what, whatever, let me not make a scene. So the girl that's a part of the group, she like, I have 2 layers of headphones in, by the way. I have noise canceling earbuds, and then I have headphones over those. And I have my hat on, so I can't see or hear these people, but because they're shaking the table, I have to interact with them. Like I'm not saying anything, but like I'm aware of them that way, and it's annoying. This girl gets in my shit, walks up, and is like, "Hi, I'm sorry, but I noticed that you were looking over here, and I'm wondering what your problem is with us." And I said, "What did I say?" I said, "I have no interest in interacting with you. Your friend needs to stop shaking this table," and that's really it. And then she's like, excuse me, like, why would you sit here if you have an issue with how we're interacting? And I'm like, this is a public place. You don't have any special privileges here. I can sit wherever I want in this building, and your friend needs to stop shaking this table. So I'm done. And then she was like, I literally just put my headphones on, and the dude was like so fucking embarrassed. It was honestly kind of like funny. And again, I wasn't going to make a scene. I wasn't going to say anything, but she literally like, I'm standing here, I'm looking at my laptop. She walks around my laptop and starts going like this to try to get my attention. And then she's like all up in her feelings after that, talking about like, oh, what a weirdo. Like, I can't believe he doesn't want to interact with us. Like, what the fuck? Like, what does he expect? And I'm like, to work like everyone else here, and for someone to show like basic decency. What's fucking hilarious is that like, I'm the dude, you know, these guys are dressed up like they're adults, or they, you know, portray that they're adults, and I'm the dude making Let's Plays about a video game that came out when I was a junior in high school, and I'm the one that's capable of behaving intelligently and maturely and doing all this. What kind of sick fucking world do we live in?
No funny business once you're in the clinic, unless you want to deal with those mechs.
No funny business.
Rihanna.
Nice work.
Oh, what the hell? What happened?
Morden's around here somewhere. Go talk to him. We need all the help we can get.
Morden saved my life.
This is the best character in this game, by the way, that we're about to meet. He's clearly the best. Where are you, Morden? There you are. Hey, buddy.
Hard to find. Expensive to mass produce.
Professor Morden Solus?
Turian physiology, resilient, with simple immunobooster. Should be fine now. Now to greetings, human. Curious. Don't recognize you from area. Too well armed to be refugees. No mercenary uniform. Quarantine still in effect. Here for something else? Fortune? Crew to clean them out? Unlikely. Fortune a symptom, not a cause. The plague. Investigating possible use of a weapon. No. Too many guns.
No, I'm not gonna renegade you, boss.
Soldiers, not scientists. Yes. Hired guns, maybe.
Relax, Morden. I'm Commander Shepard, and I came here to find you. I'm on a critical mission, and I need your help.
Mission? What mission? No. Too busy. Clinic understaffed. Plague spreading too fast. Who sent you?
Ever heard of an organization called Cerberus?
Crossed paths on occasion. Thought they only worked with humans. Turian involvement surprising. Racial tension with humans. Unlikely to help a human-centric organization.
This mission reaches far beyond mere human interests, Professor. We all have to work together to take down the Collectors.
Collectors? Interesting. Plague hitting these slums is engineered. Collectors one of the few groups with technology to design it. Our goals may be similar. But must stop Plague first. Already have a cure. Need to distribute it at Environmental Control Center. Vorcha guarding it. Need to kill them.
Why can't anything be simple?
Just once, I'd like to ask someone for help and hear them say, sure, let's go, right now. No strings attached.
Life is a negotiation. We all want. We all give to get what we want.
That wasn't a good noise.
Forja have shut down environmental systems. Trying to kill everyone. Need to get power back on before district suffocates. Here, take plague cure. Also, bonus in good faith, weapon from dead Blue Sun's mercs. May come in handy against Forja. One more thing. Daniel, one of my assistants, went into Forja territory looking for victims. Hasn't come back.
I'll keep an eye out.
If I see him, I'll do what I can to help.
Thank you. Told him not to go. Smart, bright future. I hope.
Oh.
I found a Batarian plague victim near the entrance to the neighborhood. Can you send someone to help him?
Risky. Blue Sun's Forja still battling. District not secure. See what I can do.
Let's head for the environmental plant.
Carnifex hand cannon.
Yes, good. Restore power. Release cure. We'll be here when you return.
Okay. Where doth one go to do that? But yeah, Morden's really fun. He's like just the most well-written and complicated character. It's so funny. The Solarians are such a dorky race in general. You know what I mean? Like they're very high-strung, kind of like. They were one of the races that came in from Mass Effect 1, and they clearly were designed to fit like the dorky kind of replaceable race. You know, why is it that I hopped the cover and they all just noticed? The dorky, like, replaceable race, whereas I would say, like, the Krogans were supposed to be cool and the Turians were supposed to be cool, and despite all this, like, Morden is by far the best character. And one of the least cliche, you know. But maybe it's because he's, like, presented as being intelligent, and maybe that's just true of, like, intelligent characters generally. I don't know, maybe I'm just overanalyzing, as I'm fit to do. Yeah. From a combat perspective, I mean, even just watching this, like, it's not overly engaging, you know? Like, you can do all this stuff, like, you can tell him to, if he wants to, fire a concussive shot. You notice that didn't travel, right? There's no, like, travel time with any of this stuff. I think this is better against non-armored opponents. I'm just hanging out. But whereas like the disruptor ammo, and then there's like there's disruptor, there's warp, and then there's incendiary, I'm pretty sure. And they all are good against different types, but yeah, that was a weird day yesterday. It was a super weird day in general. Like, so I went to Best Buy to get some tiles, like the trackers, because I got a new wallet among other things. And let me get some of these rounds. I got a new wallet among other things, and I went to Best Buy, and just the entire time I was there was weird. There were these two. There's this guy who has special needs, and I forget you can even do this. There's a special needs guy that was in the building, and like anybody, I don't have any issue with special needs people, but he went. You know how like at the end of a line, there's always like the sort of like snacks and goodies and stuff that they keep at like right by checkout because they know people will buy it if it's like that close. This guy who's like a grown man who has some sort of spectrum something, who's there with his brother or dad or something, he just starts opening up like all the bags of Cheetos and just starts like not just eating them but like throwing them around and just and like I think he can tell that he's being like bad, like some people can't control it, but some people are like less intelligent, but they're capable, like they know when they're being naughty, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna mess this up now because I can't multitask. Don't I have to just find the matching sequences? Oh god. There? No? Fuck this. I would rather be able to tell a story than sit here and do this hack correctly. I don't care. Which I'll fail at doing anyways. So he took the Cheetos and he just like spun them around and they're just like going everywhere all over the place. And his brother or dad is like, don't do this, you know, stop. And he keeps like looking at him like, oh, what you gonna do? The dude starts like choking him out in Best Buy, like pushes him up against the snacks and is like choking him out, and he's still shoving Cheetos into his mouth while he's being choked out. And I'm like, what is going on? And then the person behind them was an old lady with another fully grown autistic or spectrum something son who was in a wheelchair, and he was like starting to act up because the other guy was acting up. And then she had like some weird like, it was like it's supposed to be a service dog. Like, it was wearing a service dog vest. It was a Chihuahua though, and it had like a jacket and a wig on. And I'm like, I'm never coming back to this Best Buy. It was a Best Buy in Lake Mary, like towards the Seminole Town Center Mall. I was like, what the hell?
I work for Morden at the clinic. I came here to help you.
We know you're spreading the plague virus. We saw the vials in your bag.
No, those vials contain the cure. Please, you have to believe me.
Maybe we should cut off your fingers. That should loosen your... Look out! Don't move. One more step and we'll kill your friend.
I know you're scared of the Vorcha, the plague, but this man isn't to blame. If he was spreading the virus, why would he come into Vorcha territory? They're immune.
He's right. It doesn't make any sense. If we release the prisoner, we can go...
You have my word on it.
Let him go. You got what you wanted, human. Are we free to go?
We had a deal.
Human nobility. I didn't know such a thing existed.
Thank you. I thought they were gonna kill me. Did Morden send you to find me?
The professor could use your help right now. He's got too many patients and not enough volunteers.
Yeah, okay. I'll go right away. Thanks again. I owe you... well, everything.
I mean, I hope he really was doing that, because I feel like I didn't inquire too much on like just to be sure you weren't actually like spreading the plague, right? Should I even ask? I probably should, but what was I talking about before? Yeah, it's just super odd day. Sometimes you have those, right, where it's just like everything is just weird top to bottom. It's hard to imagine like having to like be in those kinds of situations all the time. Like there are a lot of people in my circle right now that are having kids, about to have kids, are talking about having kids, are getting married. I'm not, just to be explicitly clear, I'm not envious of any of that shit. I'm perfectly happy where I am, but there's always the odds on chance, and with like how much stuff that is unnaturals around, whether we're talking about microplastics or the fact that like virtually all of our internet communicate over these like waves and frequencies that are just bouncing around as if there's like no consequence to filling the networks with all this nonsense. Like, you are exposed, you know, the particulates in the air, the unnatural food. I'm just like I'm not making any specific like claims as to like what is right or wrong here, but what I am saying is that and maybe that protects me a little bit, but what I'm getting at is, it seems that the rate of autism and things like that is higher than it's ever been, and it honestly scares me, because I don't want to take care of an adult child that, you know, will go into Best Buy and just start ripping through the bags as soon as he gets in there. Like, less self-controlled, and like, literally, I'm not doing this to be mean, but it's just a fact, and facts have value. Like, I've been with literal wild animals that have more self-control than that man does. It's just insane, and kind of disconcerting. I remember there was a documentary I watched a long time ago about this guy it's like the horse whisperer, and he was talking about all these different methods of training difficult animals, and he had successfully like turned around lots of horses that were super difficult and dangerous too. And there was a horse that they hadn't gotten help to like early enough, and he was a special needs horse. Like, literally, he was like, this horse does not behave normally. I think this horse, like, it was some horse that was kicked in the head when it was a baby, or like it was dying of like oxygen loss when it was born, and nobody realized that this horse was special needs. And so this horse, like, when you would get into like its stall, it would like try to eat you. Like, literally, it was insane watching this thing, and really like tragic and frightening, right? It's like, how do you square this idea of identity and self, and like, oh, that has any like real narrative meaning in your like personal narrative, when like people can just mess with a few chemicals and turn some shit off and you're like a lunatic now, you know? Like, how much of any of this that people consider this concept of self, that
I think we're close.
Between the concept of self and the fear of death, like, every idea about like what the afterlife means comes from, I think. You don't have to believe that. That's just what I think.
You don't come here. We shut down machines, break fans. Everyone choke and die. Then collectors make us strong.
I've had enough of this.
They're like, we just want you to be able to shoot this race.
Want plague. You work for Doctor. Turn on machine.
Would love to do this voice.
We kill you.
We kill you first. You know, it's fun. Rosie D was just in God of War 2. He had a really good role. He's a fantastic voice actor. I constantly forget how good he is, because he's so all over the internet and social media. He does not sound like his normal voice when he sure. He does not sound like just himself when he's doing voice roles. And there are so many famous voice actors that still do, you know?
There's the cure. Now let's get those fans turned
I'm sure there's some dudes gonna come here, right? Yeah. It's really a testament to how skilled somebody is. But yeah, I don't know what I was saying before. Like, I think like the concept of self and the fear of death is what defines like a lot of beliefs and rationalizations about self-importance, etc. You know, it's a really self-important concept to think that you're gonna go, like, that there's a special place just for you when you die, in all religions. Which I'm gonna do something. I'll get into more of like what my plans are for this channel, and I don't know when this video is gonna drop either. But like, I got read on like every major religion this past year. So I've read the entire Bible, like the whole Old Testament, the whole New Testament, the Tipitaki from Buddhism. I haven't finished all the Hindu texts, but they're massive and they're not very uniform. Like, they don't really share like a ton of the same beliefs, so it's really hard. I've read the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, and something else, but not the Vedas. And then I've also read the Quran. But just to bring this up, all of those believe in an afterlife. Like even like reincarnation in Buddhism and Hinduism, like they believe that there is a heaven. You just don't go there permanently, right? God, I have no fucking ammo. You just don't go there permanently. And the idea that like there's a special place for you that has some semblance to like life on Earth is such a stupid and self-important idealization of things, right? I just don't believe it at all. And it's fine if you do, but I just can't square with it. And I don't know. Here's something, and maybe this will get brought up in whatever content I decide to do with this. Like, so I've read the whole New Testament, and the first 3 books are called the Synoptics, and the other texts are basically, the first 3 books were written by the same author, and they're the oldest books of the entire Bible, and they're the exact, and I mean like plagiarism levels of exact writing, as the, like, basically it's like watching Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man on Blu-ray and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man streamed off of Netflix, right? Like, it is the same story. There might be, like, the color might be a little different here. There might be, like, the most minor differences in text, right? Like, Tobey, you know, this shot ran for 14 seconds versus 15 seconds. Or, like, Tobey Maguire, you know, he had a hat in this scene. Like, it's inconsequential. And then all the other books, which predominantly aren't even about Jesus, they're written by somebody else. And we don't know who that is. I think it's assumed it's like Paul or whatever, but most historians believe that. And in the synoptic text, there's not really, from what I remember, there's not really anything about like how people are going to be together when they die. So like one thing that Christianity hates more than anything in that book, like just talking about the books, not talking about how people have interpreted these things into religion, but Christianity hates divorce. Judaism doesn't really care about divorce. Islam doesn't care that much either, and most other religions don't. But Christianity really hates divorce. It's why John the Baptist gets his head fucking cut off, because he criticizes the king for getting a divorce. I think he like marries his brother's wife or something. And there's a point where Jesus is talking to, they're called the Pharisees. They're these, like, basically, like, Jewish, like, religious figures / police or something. I don't remember. Anyways, they're in this temple, and one of the guys is trying to stump Jesus, and he's like, okay, if divorce is bad, but, like, everybody gets to be together in the afterlife, like, which wife are you going to be with? Because you got to only be with one. And Jesus is like, why would you think I wouldn't know the answer to that? Come on, please. Don't you know who I am? And what does he say? He says that nobody wants to be with their significant other.
Everyone in the district will be inhaling the cure shortly.
Oh, do I just go out this way? Oh, cool. He says that you won't want to be with your significant other because you'll be with Jesus. I'll get into this in a second. Morden's always better than these stupid stories of mine.
And thank you from me as well. Those Batarians would have killed me. For a second there, I thought you were going to shoot them even after they let me go.
Yeah, I thought about it.
I was tempted for a minute, but in the end, I figured they didn't deserve to die.
Merciful of you. Risky. Would have killed them myself.
Professor, how can you say that? You're a doctor. You believe in helping people.
Lots of ways to help people. Sometimes heal patients, sometimes execute dangerous people. Either way helps. Go check on the patients. Lots of work to do. Think about what I said. Good kid, bit naive. He'll learn. Letting him take over the clinic. Should be able to handle it now that Vorja are gone.
We've cured the plague. Are you ready to help stop the collectors?
Yes. Unexpected to be working with Cerberus. Many surprises. Just need to finish up here at the clinic. Won't take long. Meet you at your ship. Looking forward to it.
We're heading out. See you on the Normandy.
Oh, because this is like an instance, so you can't just like walk around. But yeah, so in that story, will we get a new thing? We will.
Professor, it's an honor to have you on board.
Yes, very exciting. Cerberus working with aliens. Unexpected. The use of man branching out, maybe? Not so human-centric.
You're very well informed.
Solarian government well-connected espionage experts had top-level clearance once.
I've never had
Now,
top-level
still
clearance.
Hear things. Informed of name only, no knowledge of man behind it. Anti-alien reputation listed as problematic.
The collectors have been abducting colonists from the fringes of the terminus systems. No distress signals are sent out. No signs of attack.
There's virtually no evidence that anything unusual happened at all, except that every man, woman, and child is gone.
Gas, maybe? No. Spreads too slow. Airborne virus? No. Slower than gas. Drugged water supply? No. Effects not simultaneous.
You don't have to sit there and guess. We collected samples from one of the colonies. I'd like you to analyze them and figure out how the collectors did this.
Yes, of course. Analyze the samples. We're going to need a lab.
There's a fully equipped lab on the combat deck, Professor Solus. If you find anything lacking, please place a requisition order.
Who's that? Pilot? No. Synthesized voice. Simulated emotional inflections. Could it be? No. Maybe. Have to ask. Is that an AI?
This ship is equipped with an artificial intelligence.
An AI on board. Non-human crew members. Cerberus more desperate than I thought.
The collectors have taken tens of thousands of colonists. We'll do whatever we have to do to find and stop them.
Yes, of course. Can't risk being captured like colonists need to identify, neutralize technology, need samples. Which way to the lab?
Follow me, Professor.
The goat himself. Yeah, love that guy. But yeah, so basically to finally get to the end of the story, because I know the listeners are like, what the fuck, Taylor? Please get to the point. I'm arriving at it. The Sadducees try to stump Jesus by saying, why, if people can't get divorced and they can only have one wife, what wife do they have in the afterlife? And they're like, nobody has any wives in the afterlife because nobody has anything in the afterlife because everybody is just with God. And what I realized is that there's really no guarantee in the New Testament or in the Old Testament that your consciousness is preserved after you die. The whole Revelation story is explicitly said to be a metaphor. And people like to say X, Y, or Z is a metaphor in the Bible, blah, 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 blah. But like a lot of the times when it is, Jesus straight up says it's a metaphor, or an angel or whatever says it's a metaphor. And when they don't mean that, they don't mean in their sense of the word that it's a metaphor. So what I'm getting at is that, finally, is that it makes more sense in their logic that if people were to all be together and to not care about, being with their loved ones, is that they don't fucking remember anything after they die. Like what seems to be being implied from the text is that when you die and come back in Christianity, in that belief, that you don't care about your family or your friends or whatever because you're just with God, and the easiest way to rationalize that is you don't actually remember that they exist. And if you think about Buddhism or Hinduism and what they get at, and that they believe in this wheel of reincarnation, you think, what would reincarnation feel like if that was true? And the reality is that it would feel exactly how life feels right now. It would just feel like this. I mean, if reincarnation seems very plausible, right? Like, more plausible than the idea that there's like a spiritual afterlife that resembles an idealistic sense of our surroundings, and that actually exists somehow. And if reincarnation is true, then that means that all of us have been alive, or been other people, or been multiple people, and nobody just remembers anything from those past lives. But let's see what Morton has to say about intelligent stuff, because I'm just some dumbass.
Shepard, how can I help?
Have you got a minute to talk?
Of course. Plague on Omega dealt with. Plenty of time to analyze collector intelligence. Impressive laboratory setup. Missed working for operations with a budget. AI in particular. Very helpful. Best setup I've seen since work with Special Tasks Group.
Is your assistant Daniel settling in all right?
Quite well. Safe and secure. Neighborhood mostly quiet with Plague gone. Left him the security mechs just in case. Can't be too careful. Also tired of mechs. Noisy. Never used them in STG.
It must have been frustrating working on Omega with such a limited facility.
No, Loved it. Limited facility presents challenge. Save greatest number of people using limited resources. Security threats, gangs, mercenary groups add additional difficulty. Quite enjoyable. Plague stretched abilities to limit. Couldn't have asked for more. Also, enjoy. Saving people, of course. Helping the helpless, greater good, all that too. Nice. Retirement after SDG work complete.
You said you were in the Special Tasks Group. What kind of research were you doing?
Not simply research. Several recon missions. Covert, high risk, served under a young captain named Kirihi. Studied Krogan
the first
genetics,
game.
water, tissue samples from Krogan colonies.
I worked with an SDG captain named Kirihi. His team helped me destroy Saren's cloning facility on Vermeer.
Heard Kirihi died on Vermeer. Not enough equipment for operation. Still managed to take down facility. Good captain. Dedicated. Bit of a cloaca, though. Loved his speeches. Hold the line. Personally prefer to get job done and go home. Probably military bravado, jargon, chest pounding. No offense.
What can you tell me about the genophage?
Bioweapon designed by Solarian science team, deployed by Turians against Krogans to end Krogan rebellions more than 1,000 years ago. Affects every cell of Krogan body. Commonly and incorrectly considered a sterility plague. Actually adjusts viable fertility rates to compensate for high Krogan birth rate. Stabilizes to pre-industrial population growth levels.
Nice talking with you, Morden.
Should get back to work. Need to study. So much data. Here if you need me.
I wonder if... Does Jacob allow me to talk to him at... Whoa! What the hell just happened there? At this point? I don't know. Let's find out. What's up, dude?
Commander, there hasn't been time to really settle in and take stock. I want to say that working with you is a great opportunity to do something that matters. It's a privilege to serve on the Normandy, Commander.
You may change your tune if we end up like the original Normandy.
Maybe. As long as the elusive man walks his talk. And you do the same, I'll do my best to make sure we succeed. That's been the condition for my service so far. I have issues with certain actions Cerberus has taken in the past.
What has Cerberus done to make you nervous?
A lot. They've been called terrorists, and with good reason. Doubt you can find a more checkered past. But if the Collector threat is real, and we do something about it, Cerberus will be remembered differently. Or we'll all be tried and executed. Can't count on people thinking about it as hard as I have.
I look forward to working with you, Mr. Taylor.
Just change the subject.
Likewise, Commander. Let me know if you need anything.
So they give you like the little Paragon things there, but there's actually like a counter for how many times you talk to these guys, and then you get these loyalty quests if you keep talking to them on the ship, and those quests are the most interesting and fun missions in the whole game. None of them are like kind of like regenerate, kind of redone, rehashed, shoot a wall of goons kind of things, and that's why people remember this game is those loyalty quests. So if you wonder why I always talk to the homies on the ship, that's why.
Hadley, I heard about Ferris Fields.
I wonder if Joker has anything to say. What's up?
Commander.
I assume everything is going well up here?
I really want a chance to put the Normandy through her paces. I just have to trim up the drive output and it'll be like we never lost her.
Safety standards advise against manipulating drive settings while engines are powered and in use, Mr. Moreau.
Commander, can we shut this thing off? I don't need it in my day-to-day.
I don't have time to fix it, Joker. Find a way to deal with it.
Yeah, reasoning with the intercom is not my strong point.
Your problem, not mine.
Thanks, I'll remember this.
That's it for now.
See you, Commander.
God, stop whining. Oh, jeez. But yeah. Alright, and with that, we have time to get into the topic for this So Let's Play, which is, hey, 2022. What a year it has been. Man, I remember in 2019, I think the episode that I did, I said that I wanted to have a year that, I felt like that year had a lot of great things, but it was lacking in anything transformative. And that has not been the case this year. This year has been nothing but change. And that can be difficult, but even in my thoughts then, and in my thoughts throughout my life, that can give you the most meaning that can come in your life. Like, my entire life is different. I have a different house, a different home, I don't have my plants anymore. I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have a job now. I don't, I've done a crap load of traveling this year, like probably more traveling than I've ever done in my life, and more to come, but we'll get into that later. And, new friends, new hobbies, like, even just the whole direction of my life is different. Because it did happen this year, I'll just say quickly that me and Gwen did separate this year, and I did date another girl briefly afterwards. Both of them were excellent to me in every capacity, and they're fantastic, amazing people, and there was nothing bad that anyone did to me, and I genuinely have nothing but the best opinions about both of them. And I know that sounds super patronizing, but if you feel that sounds patronizing, it sounds like that's your interpretation of what I'm saying versus the facts that is how I feel. I'm not going to talk about this anymore in the future. It's kind of obvious, so I figured I'd bring it up. After that, I spent about a month with Sean in Seattle, and I was really considering moving there. Not like going back and forth about it. It wasn't the best time because I didn't have a car, and Sean was great about letting me use his vehicle, but if you know anything about me, I really want to be in the driver's seat. I really like to have control, and I was dating when I was out there. I've dated way too much this year, to be completely frank, and it was just hard. I would tell people that I was planning on moving out there because I kind of was, but I was just in such a bad place at the time. I needed to force things to slow down. I had booked a ticket to Bangkok for my 30th because I'd had layers of plans for my 30th fall through, stuff with relationship stuff, but also I'd had this trip to Japan that I'd been pushing back for years, and I thought Japan was going to be open by my birthday, and it wasn't. And so I went back to Orlando, and I was just so done with everything. I was like, I'm fucking quitting my job. I went I booked out of work on a Thursday, went down to the ice plant in St. Augustine. I think I had just come from somewhere up in South Georgia Islands or something, and came down on my laptop, and maybe it was, I don't know, irrelevant, but I remember walking in and with my laptop and ringing up this huge bar tab and being like, I'm fucking quitting. This is the last thing I'm doing. I'm just burning all my PTO and looking for a new job. And when I'm done, I am gone. And I remember now, coincidentally, it was my 30th birthday. I was just there at the bar working and being like, fuck this. And so I for a month, I took 5 weeks off of work. I burned every single hour of PTO that I had, which was about 5 weeks. And for all of May, all of May and maybe some of June, I just tried to figure things out, right? I went and got, I was thinking about getting into AI. I was thinking about getting out of engineering completely. I was thinking about, just getting into a different role. I was going, doing therapy. I was doing career counseling. I was looking at there was just so many things I was juggling. And I did get an offer from Capital One for $50,000 more than I was making at Lockheed, but I waited too long on the offer because I was looking at this other one, and I turned down the other offer, and by the time I got back to say that I wanted to accept the first one, they'd frozen it at Capital One. So I basically had to come back to Lockheed with no paid time off, and I'm sure everybody there was assuming I was going to quit. Because my close coworkers had known that I'd wanted to leave for a very long time. But yeah, I was just what the fuck do I do? And it was I just, in lots of moments this year, especially after the rough kind of first beginning, the highs and lows of that, I just didn't know what to do. And so then I went and started planning the big trip, which is another video that I'm sure is up on the channel. I don't know what order these are going to release in, but they're going to be right next to each other in the list. So if you want to know more about my travels, I was on the road for 3.5 months. I went to all 50 states, or finished 50 states in my lifetime. I was just in the lower 48, didn't go to Hawaii or Alaska. And I was on the road for 3.5 months working remotely in all these different places, and it was a really cool experience. And then I came back and was okay, I think I'll stay in Orlando and live here, even though I've looked at living in Austin, and I spent 3 or 4 weeks in all of these places, right? Austin and Portland and Denver, and really in the cities around those areas too, San Antonio and Dillon and Bracken, Silverthorne, and Vancouver, Washington, and I went up into Canada twice. Like I went up to British Columbia, I went to Quebec, and I got to go to all these like cities I'd always wanted to go to, like Nashville and New Orleans and Lowville and Chicago and all this stuff too. Explored like all the boroughs in New York, so it was really cool. But I got back and I was like, yep, I just want to travel. Like there's a lot of things that I'm interested in that I have an opportunity to go seek because I'm, you know, as I've said, I'm single, I'm 30, I'm childless, and like I was talking to Sean about this not too long ago because he was upset about something, and I was like, you can sit around and malign all the things that you don't have, or you can accept that there are things within your power that aren't just within your power, but they're especially within your power to do right now that it won't be that easy to do in the future. Like I've realized this about myself. Like I am, surprise to no one, I am a genuine nerd. And what I mean by that is that like the things that really drive me as a person is that I am always curious about the unexpected. I'm always curious to discover something. I'm not, it's funny, I'll make my point circuitously as I tend to do, but it's funny because like while I was traveling, I was really thinking about how like I had started over in the past, and that was always circling around hobbies like music or fighting games, things I'd gotten really good at because like they were my main interest, and I was more interested in testing myself than I was about sort of getting better at them for this experiential sake. And so because I was trying to come up with something to start over in a new city, I was looking at resources of different hobbies I could get into, because I find like a lot of hobbies that people are interested in kind of arbitrary to what their situation was like. Like I know people that aren't geeky at all that have had a ton of fun playing D&D, and I know people that weren't athletic at all when I met them that flipped around and got super into, you know, football and playing soccer, or even just wanting to get mega competitive about like a table tennis league. Because if you know somebody the right way and you get kind of shown it in the right light, I really do feel like most things can be appealing to a lot of people. And so I had never found a resource to kind of like help me find some like new things to try and hobbies in a new city. So I made one myself, and I kind of conquered the Our Hobbies subreddit because my post is the only one that's pinned, and it's got like a couple hundred likes. And it's like a spreadsheet with like almost 1,000 different hobbies, and they're split up into like inspirational, like aspirational, inspirational, and practical and stuff. And it's not as filled out as I'd like it to be, but I've done like most of the work on that. And it's just kind of, right now it's just kind of a way to like sort of trigger some excitement and figure out how to get people into certain things, and then give them the confidence to, you know, pursue those things. And it's as much for me as it is for anyone. But I finished all that, and I made this awesome resource, and that is publicly editable. So if you want to go add to that or something, like you can. And if you just want to like go in there and change all the fields to like fuck over and over, like I can just roll it back to the latest version because it's in Google Docs or Google Spreadsheets. But what's funny is that throughout this trip, like I've realized that despite the fact that I've put like I've put like the most effort into everything, right? Like I put the most effort into like trying to find new hobbies this year. I'm not like an experiential person. Like I'm not, some people like their North Star is just being out there doing something, and like being in that moment is the world for them. But to me, like I'm a nerd. I'm very cognitive. Like I'm interested in the unexpected. And if it doesn't interest me, it doesn't exist. You know, like it's not worth my time. Like I consider myself a gamer, but I don't play anything like ever. Like I've played less than 10 hours, less than probably 8 to be honest this year of anything. And I consider myself a skateboarder, but I only skate for like a couple hours a week. And I, you know, consider myself a musician, but I hardly ever play. And the reason is because everything that I do is very focused around like the things being pragmatic. I'm the least arbitrary person you'll ever meet, right? Like I don't like to spend time wastefully. I always like to be considerate about what I'm doing. whether that's like I'm doing something that's for this video, or even if I have to do gaming stuff to convince myself to game because there's a reason to do it, to store these memories, you know, to store time, to save time, or, you know, to put effort into something new that I'm not very good at, but I'd like to explore because I'm more curious about myself, or just driving Uber because I'm ultra fascinated with other people's stories and I find them to be very constructive to my life and my outlook, which is the most important thing to me. Or just literally making time and explicitly saying, I'm gonna make time to see you because I care about you. Like, I'm not a person that like lets things go past me. I always try, because I can't stomach regret, you know. But it's just funny that I've realized that after all of this. And what's beyond that too is that, like, this trip, so Trent, just quickly, I'm gonna be in Southeast Asia, Africa, and probably South America. Predominantly Southeast Asia, a little bit in Africa, and South America to get back right now because it's in the southern hemisphere until like the beginning of March. Like, I'm gonna be gone for a really long time. I quit my job. I got all this shit. I've spent like $3,000 in travel vaccines. I bought like all this stuff. I'm backpacking this. Obviously the other trip was like a car-based trip, so it's gonna be completely different. Because I'm just genuinely curious to like seek and explore and be unexpected. And it's true that like I would like to be in a relationship because I know that it's fun, but genuinely like my gut reaction is like, do you want to be in a relationship right now? It's like, no, because I know what it takes to be in a situation like that, and I know what it can take out of you. That's not why I wouldn't do it, but I know that that's just logistics, and it weighs you down when you're trying to move. Like, there were days on the road trip that I drove for 14 hours straight without planning to, just because I was like, I want to go here, now I'm bored, I want to go here, now I'm bored, I want to go here, I want to go here, I want to see this, I want to go over here. And other people, like, they can't, not everybody can stomach that, and you really shouldn't expect somebody else to. Like, when you're happier independently, like, I'm in the best state I've probably ever been in my life, to be completely frank. And when you're really happy individually, and when you're really confident in your abilities to start over, to make friends, to represent yourself, to be good at anything new from zero, like, you don't feel the need, at least I don't feel the need to change people, right? I don't feel the need to be like, you need to be like this, because it's hard for some people to grasp. And I've kind of been like this for a while, but I'm always trying to let people be who they are. And I don't want to like fight people, and I don't want to put people in a position where they feel like they're wrong for not being right for me, you know? Or like they got to change to fit into my thing. And they might be willing to change, but I just know it's like a futile effort, you know? And when you're comfortable with yourself, like, you can pick and choose. You can say like, maybe you're this kind of person and we can't have this sort of relationship because you have these qualities, or like, if we spend too much time together, you're gonna get on my nerves, or like, we don't agree on these big things. But like, what's changed from when I was a kid, when I was younger, is that I would just cut people out without a second thought and just try to replace them. Now I'm like, it's kind of heartless to do that, and you shouldn't just like throw people away just because you're different. Like, you should try to accept them for who they are and love them for who they are and not who they're not. But you also don't need to invite them into every corner of your life if it's gonna bother you, you know? But yeah, to my other point, I guess, like, I know how much it can be draining to be in a relationship or have young kids or like have a home while you're trying to travel. And I know, like, explicitly, like, there's the Delos people that have traveled with a kid, and you can just tell like it's been really exhausting and difficult. They've said as much, to have a baby on a ship that's constantly circumnavigating the globe. Or like Keith, who's one of the pilot friends of ours, has had kids, and he has slowed down so much since then, because he can't travel in good conscience like that anymore, right? Like the rigmarole of that is just too much. And that's not to say like having kids and a family, that's its own adventure, right? But it is an adventure that kind of makes other adventures different and hard. And if you're interested in the real gritty pieces of the world, like I am, like, I don't think that the reason to be alive is to just like eat nice food and like get drunk and like do whatever, like, and then you just die, right? Like, isn't that such a stupid fucking way of thinking, in my view? Like, you can think whatever you want, but this is what I think. Like, how fucking stupid is it to have like this egotistical view of the world that like, I'm just gonna like eat cake, you know, bake pizza, work at the same job for 48 years, and then I'm gonna go to an afterlife where everything is about me. Like, what is your worldview that you can like abide something like that? I know like this has gone back to religion a lot, but like Orlando's getting kind of super religious. Again, I work in coffee shops a lot, and literally every other time I work, there's somebody Bible thumping like next to me. There's somebody talking about an outreach youth group. And I mean, I'm talking like whether I'm at Lobos, whether I'm at Lineage, whether I'm at Prairie House, whether I'm at Create, whether I'm at Mahogany. Like, I could go on. Anywhere. It's happened multiple times, multiple people, everywhere consistently. And it started, especially with like the SCOTUS stuff, the Supreme Court stuff, it's really started to bother me how much people use religion as a pretense to take people's rights away. So I'm like, let me get educated, because I don't back down usually. So, and I want to argue in good faith. And what I realize too is that when I argue with people that are casually debate more than argue, most people haven't even read these fucking books. You know, they're members of the church, but they don't even know what's in these texts. So it's kind of crazy, but yeah, I'm a big nerd. I'm going on a trip to Southeast Asia for 3 months. I'm very happy with where I'm at life. It's everything's been good. I felt a lot more comfortable. I felt like not nearly as restless. A lot of that is confidence, experience with starting over and having trips lined up, and living a life that like I find to be interesting, right? Like a life that I'm not like asleep at the wheel, which I did feel like I was a bit asleep. Like I was turning into dad mode where, you know, like no part of your life makes your brain activate, and you kind of are just waltzing up until where you die. And it's sad, but yeah, I mean, I guess I could talk a little bit, just wrapping this up, like about my friends like this year, like Austin and Connor, you know, like they did the boot camp, they got out, they're still, Connor got a job with like this training group, and he's been trying to get out of it because it's like, it doesn't pay very well, but he's been learning a lot. Austin's thinking about doing like travel med teching. He's not gonna do engineering. Sean's like on the fence with Amazon, to say it lightly, and do not give any details of that situation. And Raul is buying a house, so just bought a house actually. I think he closed today actually. Yeah. So I'm having some stuff like hanging out with a lot of people before I leave again, and when I come back to Florida, I'm gonna stay with Raul at his new house. That way I can finally get out of here, because I haven't been home at all. Like after I'm gonna be in Bangkok on Christmas, I think. I'll probably be in Phnom Penh on Christmas and Bangkok on New Year's, which is gonna be fucking insane. Yeah, I haven't been here. Like, I've been in Florida for maybe 6 months of the year, and then the rest was like New Mexico, Ireland, Seattle for the month, Thailand, or like the attempted one-day trip to Thailand, and then the big long driving trip, a lot of different random trips like on weekends and stuff, and then now I'm going to Southeast Asia and doing all this stuff. And I guess my final note, because again, I haven't seen anybody here for a very long time, you know, whoever's watching, and I know Counselor Anderson is waiting for his message, but he's gonna have to wait another year for me to not leave that shit unread, you know? Check out my Gmail, there's like 1,000 unread messages in there. But, you know, it's... I know, like, what I'm interested in. I know that I'm the most curious person I know. I'm willing to listen and talk to anybody about anything that I don't really understand. I find that way more interesting than talking to people that are into the same shit as me, because I already get all that stuff. It's like kind of pointless. And I am really interested in the rough patches of the world, and I've had to realize that, like, at some point I'm gonna have to try to find a balance between, like, having a normal relationship, and stuff, and this insane amount of wanderlust that I'm feeling, and not just think like, okay, I'm 30, let me go to all these dangerous places that I know like my spouse or my kids aren't going to either be safe or want to go to, and then that way like I can go to Europe or Iceland or Australia or New Zealand, and people aren't going to, or even Japan, like people aren't going to be afraid of doing that. I can't rationalize that, because what's going to happen is if I do it that way, I'm just going to go into dad mode again, and I'm not going to enjoy my life, and I'm not going to find it fulfilling and meaningful. And that's what, and all of this cognitive stuff about intrigue and the unexpected, it is where I find meaning, because it means like your time matters. And that's why I'm not really a hobby person, because it's like, is it really intelligent use of my time to like play games if it's not for something? Is it really an intelligent use of my time to not like be learning and really like expanding myself, because that's what I really care about, versus like, you know, just being a dingus? So I don't know. As always, anyone is free to live their life however they want, but this is how I choose to live my life, because this is the life that I know I can live, and I have a lot of fun doing it. So, but yeah, as far as this channel goes, I don't know how much more gaming stuff there's going to be. I think there will always be some, and I don't know what we're going to do with this series, and I don't really know, I haven't really thought about this channel in quite a while, so it'll be interesting. The channel is not going to go anywhere. I think the content is going to get broader. And in the Big Trip video, which I assume will be up at the same time, there will be probably a bit of a disclaimer on that as well, because that's kind of going to be like maybe like the new centerpiece video of this channel. I'm going to overhaul a lot of things I've been meaning to for a while. It might have to wait till I get back from Asia though. So anyways, with that being said, my typical sign off, which it just has ended up being, I will just say so long, and as always, bye bye.